Day 138. Psalms, chapter 26, 40, 58, 61, 62, and 64. The beautiful thing about the book of Psalms is this. It does not pretend life is easy. David cried. David questioned people. David waited. David prayed through fear. And yet, through those emotions, God revealed timeless wisdom. Welcome to Scripture Whispers. These are not just spiritual ideas, they are survival principles for everyday living. To begin with, do you realize that sometimes your biggest protection is who you refuse to sit with? Let me explain with a relevant verse from today's passages. I do not sit with the deceitful, nor do I associate with hypocrites. I abhor the assembly of evildoers and refuse to sit with the wicked. David connected his peace with his associations. We often think danger only comes from enemies. But be warned, some of the greatest damage comes from the company we tolerate. There are people who slowly drain your values. People who normalize dishonesty. People who laugh at integrity. People who encourage secret compromise. And over time, constant exposure changes people. A student may start cheating because everyone does it. A worker may begin stealing because the office culture accepts corruption. A young person may abandon morality just to fit into a social circle. David understood something important. Who sits around you eventually shapes what grows inside you. Notice something powerful. David did not only avoid evil actions, he avoided unhealthy influence. We are generally careful about food, but careless about influence. Some friendships are not destroying your future dramatically. They are destroying it quietly. Psalm chapter 26 teaches that wisdom is not only knowing right from wrong. Wisdom is also knowing when not to stay. The second whisper reminds us of how wise it is to understand that waiting is not wasted when God is preparing you. Listen. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit. Modern culture hates waiting. People want quick money, quick success, quick answers, quick healing. Some delays are actually preparation seasons. David said he waited patiently. Not because waiting felt good, but because trust was growing during the process. Many people think God has forgotten them simply because life is moving slowly. But consider how a seed underground looks inactive before it breaks through the soil. Sometimes God develops strength in hidden places. There are people listening today who feel stuck. A business is not growing. Marriage has not happened. Career doors remain closed. Prayers seem unanswered. Yet God still hears cries spoken in lonely seasons. And when God finally moves, He does not merely improve situations. He can completely lift people out of pits. One day Joseph was in prison. Another day he stood in the palace. One day David was hiding in caves. Another day he wore the crown. Waiting seasons often feel empty while you are inside them. But later you realize they were building endurance, humility, wisdom, and dependence on God. Do not abandon faith simply because heaven seems quiet. Beware. Not every person who speaks softly has a good heart. Hide me from the conspiracy of the wicked. They sharpen their tongues like swords and aim cruel words like deadly arrows. David describes people who attack using words, not fists, not weapons. Words. Today, reputations are destroyed online, families are divided by gossip, careers collapse because of false accusations. One rumor can travel faster than truth. Some people smile publicly while secretly planning harm. David spoke about hidden attacks, whispers, conspiracies, secret conversations. And honestly, many people can relate to this today. Sometimes betrayal comes from co-workers, relatives, church members, close friends, or even trusted mentors. The unusual lesson here is this. Not all battles are visible. Some battles are emotional, psychological, verbal, spiritual. That is why wisdom requires discernment. Not every compliment is genuine. Not every friendship is safe. Not every invitation deserves acceptance. Yet David did not become bitter. Instead, he prayed. You do not have to become cruel because others are cruel. Protect your heart without losing your character. From the ends of the earth I call to you. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I, for you have been my refuge. There comes a point in life when human strength is no longer enough. Everyone eventually faces seasons where money cannot solve the problem, connections cannot help, and explanations are insufficient. David said, "Lead me to the rock that is higher than I." Why? Because there are moments when people need strength greater than themselves. Society teaches self-dependence, but Psalms teaches God-dependence. And honestly, many people secretly feel emotionally exhausted. Strong people get tired too. Leaders get discouraged too. Parents cry too. Successful people battle anxiety too. Vulnerability before God is not weakness. It is wisdom. Silo. Many people break down because they carry burdens silently. David teaches us to run toward God instead of pretending to be okay. The safest place is not always a physical location. Sometimes the safest place is prayer. Yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. Trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts to Him. One of the hardest lessons in adulthood is discovering how unreliable people can be. People change. Promises fail. Feelings fluctuate. Someone may support you today and abandon you tomorrow. This whisper reminds us that only God remains consistently dependable. David had experienced betrayal, political attacks, and disappointment. Yet he discovered stability in God. This does not mean people are unnecessary. It simply means human beings should not replace God in our hearts. Many people suffer deeply because they build their entire emotional security on relationships, jobs, money, social media validation, or public approval. But all those things can suddenly disappear. This is a lesson about emotional balance. Trust people wisely, love people sincerely, but anchor your soul in God, because when life shakes everything else, God remains steady. Do not assume that God does not care about injustice despite what you witness around you. At the instance when David boldly confronts injustice, as he said, "Do you rulers indeed speak justly? Do you judge people with equity? No, in your heart you devise injustice." He questioned corrupt leadership, dishonest judgment, abuse of power. And this matters today because many people secretly believe evil always wins. People see corruption, manipulation, oppression, dishonesty, and wicked people succeeding. God notices injustice, even when society ignores it. Silence from heaven is not approval of evil. Many good people become discouraged because they try to live honestly, while dishonest people appear to advance faster. But David understood something. God is still the final judge. And that truth gives hope to people who feel cheated, ignored, or mistreated. The world may reward wickedness temporarily, but righteousness still matters to God. Never let a corrupt environment convince you to abandon integrity. The Psalms are deeply human. They speak to disappointment, betrayal, waiting, emotional exhaustion, injustice, and the search for safety. Yet through all these struggles, one message keeps appearing: God remains present in every season. So today, we have learnt how wrong company quietly destroys character. But waiting seasons can prepare greatness. Hidden attacks are real, so discernment matters. God becomes our refuge in overwhelming seasons. Human beings are unstable, but God remains constant. God sees injustice and still honors integrity. You can speak honestly to God. David did not hide his fear, confusion, anger, or exhaustion, and neither should you, because sometimes healing begins the moment honesty begins.